walk so they can run. I'm telling you.
If there's one that I want you all to watch, I'd say. Hey, what's up everyone?
Welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, hi, how's it going? She's Daniela, I'm Alexis, and thanks for clicking on our video.
So in today's video, we're going to list you guys some of our all-time favourite shows, films, whatever it might be, that you may find on Netflix, you might find on Hulu, or just any random online website really. And it's just going to be a recommendations video basically, and giving you what we like and what we've liked watching in the past, and hopefully that you might like too.
So without any further ado, let's just get on into the video.
So my first recommendation that I'm going to give is actually a current show that I'm watching now. It's called Elite. A lot of people have probably heard of it. I know it's fairly recent, but essentially, to keep it really short, it's about a group of school kids that try to cover up a murder that one of the classmates committed against another classmate. That's to wrap it up in a whole. But what at the moment I'm really liking about it is just like how it tells a story. Like the first episode will be essentially what happened, and then each episode in that season, it sort of tells a story of what's been happening, and like the inspector doing the investigation with children and all that. And to me, I think that's why I like it a lot, because I got to see what happened in one whole minute, I guess, and then each episode just explains it. But yeah, I would rate it out of 10 at the moment. I'm gonna give it like an 8.
Okay, for me, now for this one, if you've watched Euphoria, I don't even need to like
expand.
I don't even need to expand, because Euphoria it's up there, like it's up there. Like basically, it's about this girl called Rouge. She's battling like a drug addiction, and she basically like goes back into somewhat reality, or tries to find reality. Then she finds a new best friend who's called Jules, kind of like alongside all their friends and everything. They're like going through basically trying to go through high school more or less, while she's battling that. And all of her other friends also have their own like issues, or everyday I would say like everyday issues that kids nowadays go through, like little things that reflect on other people in reality that they go through. And overall, like, that show is just the cinematics, the characters, the costumes, just everything about it is just
very like
my God.
us, like in nowadays.
It's really close to my heart. Like out of a scale of 10, it's a 10 out of 10. Like they did that. Like I'm not gonna lie, we're just waiting for season 2. Obviously, like they're gonna start season 2, but then Miss Rona came and interrupted that. But it's okay, season 2 is coming. But for the time being, rewatch season 1, because that show is a little bit heavy. I'm not gonna lie, just a tad bit heavy. But once you get past that, it's alright.
So my next recommendation is Shadowhunters, and this was actually, I started watching it with my sister halfway through the first season and completely fell in love with it really. But to keep it short, it's basically about a student who's an art major in college in America, and she basically finds out that she's a shadow hunter, and what that consists of is basically fighting off like demons and creatures in this like alternate world, in like a whole other dimension basically. And so she finds out this is what she is, and then she goes into this world and trains to become a shadow hunter, where she then has to help rescue one of her best friends who got kidnapped by, again, one of these creatures. What I really like it is I'm really into like this whole demon creature world for some reason. I don't know what it is, I don't know what's caused that, but I've really become into that. And so I just like seeing all how they fight off demons, how they do all these effects in the background, how they have things falling from the sky that in real life would never happen. But honestly, I recommend watching that one because I think it's quite fun to watch in a way as well. But in terms of rating it, I will give this one I'm gonna say a 7.5, because I still think there's parts that could be better, but I still think they did a really good job in terms of the overall show. But yeah.
Are you sure you're not possessed?
I'm positive I'm not possessed. Positive.
Okay, that's what a possessed person would say.
Oh, stop it.
Okay, the next show I have is How to Get Away with Murder, and that show, you know, with a show that every episode leaves you wanting more, and there's always like a little cliffhanger or plot twist, and then like
that one where you say one more episode.
Yeah. Oh, that was it. That was the show. Like, how do I explain the show? Because how do I explain the show without telling you
what it is?
Everything. Okay, so in this show you have Viola Davis, who plays Annalise Keating, and she's like a school professor, and she has a group of 6. That's basically the Keating 6. Those are the main characters in the show, and then they kind of work for her, kind of like interns, more or less. She also got 2 people like Frank and Bonnie, and they've been with her from like back in the day. And with the show itself, what they do a lot of foreshadowing. So like the first episode of a season is going to tell you what's happening, like
that whole season.
Not necessarily the whole season, but what's happening. Let's say like episode 1 is going to tell you what's happening from episode 8, and it's like you're thinking like what, but each episode at the end of it goes off of it and it starts showing you a piece of how it gets there. And then it's like once it's gone to that bit, you're like, what's happening, you know, in the nicest way I can put it. And it's like showing you how to get away with murder.
Literally.
I'm not even gonna lie, Annalise, you think the show revolves around her. It kind of does, to be fair, but the show and everything about it is bigger than her. Like, it's a lot bigger than her, and it's crazy because the amount of stuff that happens in that show, it's messed up. It is. I don't think I've ever watched a more messed up show. That show is messed up. Like, I'd recommend that to anybody. Like,
so do you rate that one out of 10?
Out of 10, if I was to rate that, that's more than a 10, because let me tell you, she makes me want to do like law and all of that, but then I have to remember they're acting, and the fact that they're acting and it makes me want to do that.
Yeah, you know they're doing good.
Oh my gosh, like spot on. But out of 10, I'm gonna give it like a 20 out of 10, because that's one of the best shows I've watched. Like one of the best shows I've ever watched.
Oh, I can see that someone really recommends that one.
Oh, you need to watch it to get it. You do.
So my next one that I've got, probably everyone and their fair friends, siblings, whatever, has probably watched this show. And this one is Pretty Little Liars.
Not me.
Yeah, we've established that one. But essentially, to keep it as a whole, what this show entails is basically about this group of friends where in the first season, I think it's even the first episode, they've all gone to a sleepover at one of the girls' like barn that she has next to her house. And during the night, they hear this noise and they find out that one of their friends has disappeared. Now all the other girls, they're going around looking for her, calling her name, whatnot. Can't seem to find her anywhere. Can't seem to find anything that was hers. And the reason that they realised that she'd gone missing is that they heard a scream during the night. So anyways, the show goes on and it's basically about the girls finding out what happened to their friend Alison. So there's newspapers going out about the girl missing, all of that. And then it turns out apparently that she's dead. They found a body. It's been called out as this girl Alison, whatnot. So when the girls go to the funeral for it, as they come out once the funeral is ended, at the end of the episode they basically get a text message, and it's basically from this mysterious person known as A, and it's just saying that they know what happened to their friend and that the girls ain't as innocent as they appear to be. And basically that's what the story follows on, and I'm not going to say any more because otherwise I feel like I'm going to give away the whole storyline. But I do think it's very interesting in the sense of how in depth they go to find out what happened, and like who you thought was your friend really probably wasn't your friend, and it really teaches you to keep your friends close and your enemies closer. That it really goes over that line. But I'd say watch it. There's many seasons, so if you're bored and you want a long show to watch, it's definitely the one. And honestly, I think I'd rate it a 10 out of 10, because out of all the shows that I've watched, let it be Netflix or just online on 1, 2, 3 movies that everyone has used before at once in their life. But I genuinely think it's one of the shows that I've really enjoyed, and like to this day would go back and watch it again. I already have watched it again before, but yeah, I think you guys should give it a chance, and I definitely recommend it.
So what would you rate it out of 10?
A 10.
Oh, you would?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's my first 10 of my list.
Okay. My next show is The Fosters.
Ooh, it's a good one.
Like, I had to get her on The Fosters. It took a while though for me to get into
it definitely, but I think that's just because of the kind of person I am. I have to, if from right off the bat to me it doesn't stick, then it's harder for me to really get into it.
But that okay, so
she just didn't let me give up basically and kept me watching it, and that's when I started liking it.
Was I wrong?
You weren't wrong.
Exactly. That's what we needed to hear. I wasn't wrong. So with The Fosters, it is these 2 kids, they get adopted by this group, like a foster family, and throughout the period of the show they all grow up and you see their character development. Like the first, I believe, 2 seasons, it's a bit messy because they got a bit of like incest going on. Well, not really incest, but a bit of incest going on. It's a
Yeah, it's like partial incest.
Yeah, it's a bit messy, but it's really juicy, and like you have to go through like a lot of the challenges and decisions they've got to make. A lot of them are really like the dumbest decisions I've ever seen in life.
It's very coming of age.
Yeah.
Like it's that sort of show.
But it's like, nonetheless, it did kind of take me a while to get into, but once you get into it,
So my last recommendation for this video is Money Heist. I know a lot of people have heard of this show. Don't know if everyone's watched it, but I know a lot of people have heard of it. But basically what it essentially revolves around is this group of like criminals, and it's like, so they all meet this one person called the Professor, and he's the one that's basically got all these group of people together and created essentially a group of robbers. And the first season, what it focuses on is them all planning to rob this place called the Royal Mint of Spain, which is essentially this like really big bank and like really like known in Spain. It's like monitored by all these security guards and all of that. So it revolves around the planning of the actual robbing, and then obviously the actual robbing of the bank and how they infiltrate the bank without being suspected, how they can even get guns to begin with inside the bank without all the detectors going off. But what I really like about it is just how everything is so mapped out to like the precise moment, and how, for example, the Professor starts coming close to the inspector that's carrying out the investigation while the robbers are inside the bank, and essentially how he's basically finding out everything that the police is doing right under their nose without them even realizing that this person is the whole mastermind behind this robbery. But yeah, I really liked it. I'm waiting for, I think it's season 5 that's to come out. I'm pretty sure there's 4 seasons, and I think they're working on season 5 because the way it ended the last season that I watched, there's more to it, you can just tell. And essentially, so the first season it's about robbing the Royal Mint of Spain, and then the next robbing that they do, I think it's the Royal Bank of Spain or another bank, it's something of the sorts, but it's essentially sort of the same thing, and it follows the same execution in terms of how they've planned it. But there's a few deaths along the way, you might tear up a bit, I know I did, but you've become very emotionally attached to these characters, and it's almost like they're considered criminals, but you don't view them as that, you almost view them as people that are just trying to get by. But I really strongly enjoyed it. I thoroughly liked watching it, and I think you all will too. I think it's a very easy show that like everyone can enjoy and enjoy watching. The only thing I will say that some people may be put off is that because the show is Spanish, when they're talking, even if you've got the audio in English, you can tell that it's been translated. So if you're a kind of person that doesn't enjoy like their fat mouths not following exactly along what they're saying, you might not enjoy it. I don't really mind that. I can move past that and be able to still enjoy the show, but that's just a heads up. But for me, I think honestly, this is a show that I'd rate 20 out of 10.
Wow.
I think to me that's
I wasn't expecting that.
I know, but to me I think that's that show. Like taking all this whole Spanish translation thing out of context, I would genuinely say this is like a 20 out of 10. If there's one that I want you all to watch, I'd say Money Heist, and you can find that one on Netflix.
Okay, for me, my last recommendation, I believe it's on Netflix. I don't actually know if it's on the UK Netflix because I use a different type of Netflix.
System.
Yeah, but the last recommendation I have is Meet SWole, and that show is actually close to my heart right now because like I've heard so much about it in the past, and for that fact is like I had to go watch it. I had to see what the hype was about, and honestly, it lives up to its hype. It lives up to the expectations. And let me tell you, like they've got 2 main characters, Corey and Topanga. Like you've probably heard about them. I'm hoping you have. Like
it's a rock Girl Meets World, you most likely have.
Girl Meets World is one of the best shows, but we're not talking about that. That's like the sequel. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about Boy Meets World. And let me tell you now, Corey and Topanga walked. So all these other couples you see like Troy and Gabriella, all of them, for them to run. They walk so they can run. I'm telling you that.
Trust me, she cried. I have the videos of it.
I'm not a crier. Honestly, I'm not.
And she honestly, out of the 2 of us, she is not a crier.
I'm not a crier, but that show is. It makes you sit there and you just like.
It makes you deep life, really.
And the thing is, every episode is like a life lesson of like
behind it.
Yeah, of things that you can actually go through growing up or like just now in general. Like every piece of advice you can want or even get, you will find it in that show. and it's like I didn't realize that until I watched it. I was like, oh my gosh, they actually spoke about this. And it's like, these are things that you probably think about in life, and it's like, it's right there in front of me, in front of my eyes basically. One other thing about the show, it was worth 7 seasons. Like, it did start, I believe it did start off on, like, I think it was on Disney before, because it's on Disney Plus, that's why I watched it. I believe it was on Disney, or it was on something, then they moved to ABC, which is why it got this 7th season. But then as it progressed after season 3, they started talking about like a bit more, I want to say like mature topics, not really mature to an extent topics, because they're still trying to keep it family friendly, but still
PG still.
Yeah, they want to keep it like PG, but they want to have it more, a bit
more broad, I guess.
Broad, and some older audiences a little bit, I want to say. But that show is, it's a really good one. Like, it's a really good one. And comedy wise, you know when some comedies are like forced and you feel yourself laughing and it's like kind of forced because it's like
it's not as funny as they paint it out.
This one, I'm there dying and I have to go back and rewatch it, like rewatch that little scene again, or little clip of them laughing, and I'm like, I see your mind. I see your mind, and I see what you're on.
I see where you were when you did this.
Yeah, because the directors, I give them credit, because the way they did everything, like the emotion, the characters,
the script,
yeah, exactly. It was there. Out of 10, that's really high up there for me.
I think that all of us were quite high up by the looks of it.
Okay, 10.5.
Wow.
Because I feel like I've already said the 20 and I don't want to say 20 again, so I'm going to say 10.5. It's a really, like, it's a really good show to watch, I'm not going to lie, it's really good.
So out of your list of shows, which one is the, if you could pick one that everyone should watch, it would be this?
How to Get Away with Murder. How to Get Away with Murder. Like, the thing is, I would watch that again, but because I already know what's gonna happen,
it's not as
juicy anymore. But nonetheless, I would 100% recommend that one. Like, you need to watch that. You need that in your life. I didn't know I needed that until I watched it. You know, it's one of those ones.
So I guess this brings us to the end of our video.
We hope you enjoyed and you liked what you saw. We also hope you took on board some of our favorite recommendations.
We definitely have many more shows that we love to watch. So if you think that you want to know about a bit more of the recommendations that you could watch, then let us know and we can do a part 2 to this video and include many more videos and shows that we've liked.
Yeah, let us know in the comments down below what you thought of some of our recommendations and some recommendations you might have for us, because
I'm always up to new shows to watch.
My show list right now is a bit dry. I feel like I've watched most things.
Yeah, the show I'm watching at the moment like coming to an end, so I need another one to watch.
We actually need new things, so let us know down below. Also, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe.
Make sure to turn on your post notifications so that you know when we post our next video.
And we really hope you enjoyed this video, and we hope to see you again later or soon.
See you guys, bye.
Peace.